Am I on? Oh, I'm on. Hi, folks. Jerry Gagne. This is the pre-show for the show called Foys on Facebook, starring Gina. I'm Gina's support system. She runs the show. She does everything, and once in a while she lets me answer a question. We're going to have a great show. It starts at 3 o'clock, our regular show. We're going to be trying to fit in a discussion of pigeon feed and grit. And also, we're going to talk about some of the problems we're having getting products in because of the virus and things like that. So lots of information. And of course, if you'd like to ask a question, you're more than welcome to send a question in now. May not answer it right away because Gina will be joining me at 3 o'clock. But if you send your question in, you'll be kind of top of the list. We'll get you first or second or whatever. The bottles in front of you, can they see all the bottles or some of the bottles? Okay. I've got an assortment of bottles in front of me. I've made the decision, I just got to get rid of some of my stuff. And I'm a long-time collector of old bottles, license plates, and also tins. So what I'm going to show you is just a few of the hundreds of bottles I've got, and let you know they are for sale. And I'll be giving you my home phone number in a few minutes. So if you're interested, I'd like to sell the whole collection. And I've looked some of them up, and I know some of them are fairly valuable. So if you're interested, this is an old Pepsi bottle. This is an old Mother Hubbard pop, I think, soda pop. This is Regent's soda pop. So I have a number of soda pop bottles. This one is interesting. It's called a Timpex. Anyways, I'm assuming it's a wine. This company's been in business since 1876. Don't know the exact year on it. It doesn't tell you, but the obvious thing certainly is the fact that there's wine in it, and it doesn't have a cork. It has a tin screw off. This one here is liniment from Dr. Sloan. I think some of us older folks remember Dr. Sloan's liniment. Still got some in it. It's got the metal screw top. Once again, I don't have a date on it, but I know it's old, and it gives you the ingredients, and there's Dr. Sloan. But it's a very varied collection of bottles. As I say, I have the little small brown bottles, green bottles, clear bottles. So anyways, this one I brought in because this and the green one says that it is if you've ever been into bottles, you can go online. If you have a question, give me a call. I know we're supposed to be talking about pigeons, but what the heck? I run the show, and until Gina gets here, I have a collection of old tins. This is a tin which Fleischmann's yeast came in. Eat it for health. Fleischmann's yeast. All it says is eat it for health. Nothing else on the box, no dates or anything. Don't believe so. But we all know it's kind of old. Then I brought another tin. I think these are the only two tins I bought. Johnson's baby powder. And the ingredients were talc and boric acid. And Lots of people who used talc over many years are now suing Johnson. In fact, they've taken talc off the market, but it says it's a pure blend and non-irritating soap for washing the baby. Lather freely and rinse off easily. Made in the USA. So here's one here. It's for when you're changing the diaper in the bath water. So I have a whole collection of those. And the last thing I have a habit of collecting is license plates. This is a 1944 Pennsylvania license plate. Real heavy, heavier than what they are now. But I've got them going back to I remember right, the 1920s. So I've got an assortment of those. If you know, or if it's you that know someone, or you collect old license plates. What got me started, my brother up in Maine, Danny, I was at his house one day and admiring his collection of license plates. And he gave me one here. He said, take this one, 1941. That's the year I was born. So that kind of got me interested. So if you're interested in license plates, old bottles, tin, I've just got to start cleaning stuff out, and I'm giving you the opportunity to do that. Once again, if you have questions, send them in, and we'll be answering the questions. One of the things we're going to cover, I mentioned, is the problem we're having in getting products in. A lot of the medications that we offer come from overseas, whether it's, I know we get a lot from South Africa, we get some from Australia, we get some from overseas and other places, and a lot of those places, the borders are closed. We can't get, we have one big shipment stuck at the airport. We can't cross the border, so to speak, can't be flown to the United States. So we apologize for that, but I guess really an apology is not appropriate because it's not our fault. We would if we could, but it's an impossible thing with these rough times that we're going through. If you have anything you want us to discuss, as I said in the past, the show is all about you. We have thousands and thousands of people who watch this show on a regular basis. And the comment we get a lot is they like the question and answer kind of thing because they've had the same question, and we're answering them for them also. So if you have a health issue, now's the time to get on the Facebook and send in those questions. I wanted to talk a little bit about it, and I'll do it now. We've got a few minutes. I've got a couple of calls this past week with an issue. And it was mostly young birds, although there were a few older birds, but mostly young birds. The birds would get fluffed up. They would pick the bird up, and the bird would just throw up, I guess is the best word, of pouring water would be pouring out of them, just like they drank more than they could possibly handle, and their thirst was overwhelming. And I got a couple of questions. I emailed Dr. Bosa in South Africa. I thought I knew what it was, but I wanted to back up on that one, get some real expert behind it. And he said and he doesn't use it very often, but he says it's definitely young bird disease, and where they're drinking copious amounts of water. So if you have that particular problem with your young birds or your young old birds, so like last year's birds or something like that, what you have is, in almost all cases, something that is treatable, but it's called YBD, young bird disease. Hi, Gina. Hey. Gina, late as usual. She could have been here 15 minutes ago. Oh no, now she walked out. She went, did her hair, brushed her teeth, and washed her face and hands and all of that, but she forgot something. I'm not sure what it was. Maybe comb her hair. All right. Jerry Gagne, I'm going to tell you a little bit about I better wait a minute. I want to tell this story about me trying to get in here today. I sold 2 of my lots. Part of my plan to cut back, as I've shared with you before, I have 1, 2, 3, I have 5 lots. and a total of 13 sections. Well, I sold the old store building, and attached to that building was one of my lots with 3 sections. Then I also sold 2 other lots that I had, and somebody's coming to pick them up and move them by truck. They're going about 60 miles from here, but they're going to be gone, which now means 3, 4, 5, that's 8 sections gone. So I'm not going to be able to keep as many pigeons, and that's intentional, as I used to have. We're still going to sell them, and sometimes I get questioned, do I still have rollers? We have rollers available. We have racing homers available, colored racing homers available, white racing homers available, and of course the rollers in various colors. So if you're interested in buying pigeons, give me a call. We get a lot of inquiries, and what tells me that people are pleased with the birds is the repeat orders. We get a lot of repeat orders. And if you're looking to race, I really got some top quality young birds for sale, and they'll be on our website, tomorrow or next week sometime, Veronica?
There.
Pardon?
The racing homers are there, just
Okay.
the color.
We're going to be selling some kits until I've sold as many as I want to. We're going to sell a kit of 10 young racing homers, race quality, coming from, I don't sell pedigree, and I'm not going to tell you what strain they are. I know there's Jansons and Humans and a lot of different strains mixed in with them, but they are really top quality birds. In fact, one of the fellows that gives me young birds, I buy from him, took the first 3 places last week in his club race, and then he took, and it was first 4 places in his club and 4 first in the combine. So these are good pigeons if you're looking for them. 10 birds, 10 young birds, 2020 birds for $450, isn't it, Gina?
$435, I think.
Well, it's either $450, $475. They're on our Foys site right now, and that includes shipping. So if you're looking for a heads up and really want to get an early start, I will tell you they're all 2020, but they're getting a little old. When I say a little old, I usually try to sell them just after they're weaned. These have been weaned. They're probably 2 to 3 months old. But if you're interested, $475, $450 includes shipping on 10 birds. And that also, we'll have a picture up real quick. I brought them in today. We're going to have colored homers. That's a lot of their yellows and reds and splashers and things like that. So if you're looking for some pretty homers, we have them $450 from Foys, includes shipping. Hi, Gina.
Hi. You went a little over today.
Did I?
You
Well,
did.
I started late.
A minute
I
late.
mean, well, I have that time. It's my time.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I'm going to tell this story before
Can I introduce the show first?
No, I'm going to do this
Okay.
because it has to do with before the show.
Okay.
All right. 13 things I've got to mention. Getting ready to show, I was at home, I've got to go. So my wife Vicky looks out our front window, and blocking our driveway is this big long truck, and it's in the wrong lane, but it's parked with its blinkers on it. And Vicky says, "Wonder what the heck that truck is doing there." So I said to Vicky, "Well, Jaden ordered some furniture, a couch and so forth. I'll bet you that's what it is." So this big truck, I have a steep driveway, right? It drives up my driveway, and you can hear it scraping the concrete. It couldn't make it because going up the hill, the bottom was dragging. So they backed out. Now this is a state highway. They back out again. So they turn around, and now they're going to try backing up the driveway, figuring that would work. Well, they backed up the driveway. Same thing. They couldn't get in. So I holler over to Jaden, my grandson, who's buying the furniture, and I said, "Jaden, just take my pickup truck, take it down the bottom of the hill, and load the furniture on." I'm thinking it's one couch. Load the furniture on and bring it up to the house. So it's 2 sofas and some other chair. Finally, I hollered down to him, "Come on, guys, get the truck out of there because I Vicky's got to be at the bank at 1 o'clock, and it's 1:15, and I've got to get out of there to do the show. So they get my truck, and they unload my truck one piece at a time, and the furniture wouldn't fit in the doorway. So I'm still there waiting. The truck's back down there blocking traffic. So finally, they found a way to take something off and get it in the door. All right, so I think that's the end of it. It isn't. Vicky's got to leave at 1 o'clock. The truck's down there. I go down there. I says, hey guys, you got to move the truck. My wife's got to get out of here. So they move the truck. Vicky drives out. Then I figured, man, it's getting late. I got to get into the store. I run down there again and say, hey guys, you got to move the truck again. I got to get out of here. So, but my pickup truck was still full of furniture. So I can't use my truck. So I have to borrow Jaden's truck. Do you think this is the end of the story? This is number 10. I had borrowed, not truck, Jaden's car. So I've got to bring 10 colored homers down here to get their picture taken, right? So I put the basket in Jaden's trunk and I drive down here. So I get to the store here, I walk in and do what I got to do. And I said, oh, I got to bring those pigeons in. So I go out to the car, and Gina will verify this. The front door's locked. All 4 doors are locked. The trunk is locked. I can't get in, and I lost the damn keys. So everybody's looking for the keys, but to this moment, we haven't found the keys. I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but we just can't. That's the end of my story. But I wanted to let you folks know. One time we had, and then go ahead. You introduce yourself.
Welcome to Foys on Facebook. Hope everyone's doing well today. Thank God it's Friday. I'm looking forward to my long weekend. It's Memorial Day Monday, if you didn't know. Yes,
Why don't you just come in and catch up?
No, we're closed on Monday. I will not be here.
Give me your home phone number.
Nuts.
No.
Did you want to say something before I continued?
No. You want me to be quiet? You want to?
No, I thought there was something else you wanted
Oh, there
to say.
is, but you go ahead and do what you got to
Okay.
do.
So today's show, we're going to continue talking about feed because we didn't get to it last week. Probably because somebody talks too long about certain things. But so we're going to continue on feed. And then we're also going to talk about medication substitutes. We are out of a lot of medications. With everything going on, we're not getting shipments from certain areas. So we'll talk about some of those stuff that we do have in stock that you can sub for. If you have any questions on any substitutions, something we don't cover, you can always give us a call. You can ask us live and we'll answer it live. And we'll go from there. You ready, or you want me to keep going?
No, I'm trying to be quiet.
I understand why you were so anxious today because all that happened.
I'm going to talk about that.
Okay, so you got me all discombobulated.
You're not used to me being quiet.
No. So the auction winners for the tipplers is Dean Carbine. I believe you called and I was already in the show, so I'll call you after the show. And then for the racing homers, Kiris mess this up, Oquando. I don't know how you say it, but you know who you are. So call me about 4:15 after the show and we'll get that taken care of. Get your bird sent out next Tuesday for you. I forgot my drink. I wanted to mention that we do have masks available.
Want a drink?
With some wine. We have masks available now. It's not the ones that we normally sell because we still can't get those ones. But these are the ones, can you see it? These are the ones that we have available. They're sold in a 5-pack for $10. So if you want them, they're on our website or you can call and order them. Another thing I wanted to mention is shipping through the post office. That has been taking longer than normal, about a week, give or take, sometimes longer. So if you order something and you need it quick, then going through the post office is not the way to go right now. You can either get UPS or FedEx or third day, second day, next day, whatever you want. Just know that's a little more costly, but the post office is taking longer than normal. So if you order through the post office, then if you order through the post office, just have a little patience. I feel like I'm talking real fast because I'm trying to hurry. It's really hot in here.
You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Everybody knows you're hot.
Back about the auction birds. So when we list the auction birds, if we don't list that there's a pedigree with it, then there's not a pedigree. I mean, a lot of times people ask, but if we don't list it or show a picture of a pedigree, there isn't one. And if we don't know what strain it is, then we don't list it. If we know it, we list
Did
it.
somebody get upset with that?
No, but
No. I get a lot
we'll
of
leave it
questions.
at that.
Huh?
I said we'll leave it at that.
Okay.
No, but people always ask, and yeah. You wanted to say something?
Well,
Jump on in.
I'm this, it's a whole new cherry. I don't have my costumes on, my costume hat, nothing. I'm just got
You don't even have suspenders on
No,
today.
I was gonna wear them and I'm part of my day, I forgot.
I got mine on.
Okay. What I wanted to tell people is if you're just joining in, and I went through a list of 13 different things that happened on the way, and that wasn't all of them. I got behind a car and some old fart, probably 70 years old, just was on his phone and the light would turn green and he'd still be there and still be there. I beat my horn. So don't you know, at the next light, like that's part of it too. What a day. Same guy, same thing. I can see he's on the phone, the light's green and boo boos, you know me, babe, babe, babe. So here's what if you all, any of you ever have this problem, you know, I want you to know what I do. And it really helps. This is a gummy bear.
CBD gummy.
CBD gummy. And we had a question and kind of answer. And people had to guess what my illness is. And it is an illness. I have terrible anxiety. Normally it doesn't bother me except in the morning. I got one. And you might see me take another one before the show is over. So that's what I wanted to mention.
So his anxiety is a little high today.
Yep.
So
those things, they do work.
Okay.
Not a little high.
Something else I wanted to mention, our new catalogs are out.
Show them that.
Can you see this, Veronica? Can y'all see? Okay, so this is the new catalog. We got them last Tuesday, I believe. We did start sending them out. So if you don't get one in your order and you would like one, either ask for it when you order or just call and request one and we'll go ahead and send you one. This
is half of the paperwork that one half of what we do to try to create a new catalog. We really did start on the catalog last April, and we are now, just last week, finished. It's a heck of a job. We're not complaining, but we like to make our catalog special, something nobody else does, because it's not just a catalog, it's a resource. If you have questions about pigeon health or tips or things like that, it's in the catalog. And when you think about me, I can say something using 150 words where probably 10 or 12 would have done it. But if you look at other people's pigeon catalogs, it usually says ronadazole for canker, and that's it, pretty much. With us, it's 2 paragraphs for me to tell you it's 1 teaspoon Joy Allen.
Well, they know that by watching the show.
Oh, okay.
How you go on and on and on.
You ought to have some of these CBD. But anyways, we're proud of it. Veronica, Gina, and I worked our butts off, and I personally wanted to thank, I don't have my glasses on, Gary Romig. Gary is the one that supplied all the pictures. And it's really nice because we've got so many darn different breeds. You know what I'm thinking as we did it, what we probably could have done.
Put the names under them.
Yeah,
I just
tell
thought about
everybody
that.
what all the breeds were,
Uh-huh.
right? Because we're going to get questions about that.
Right.
Look at them all. Anyway, we're real pleased that our catalog is out, and I hope you enjoy it. And if you find the mistakes we left in there purposely, there's no prize, but it's okay to let us know. Because there are a couple of
I
mistakes in
found a
there.
couple already. He even hid some from me.
There was one of them where we forgot the whole, oh, I know, on shipping of pigeons.
Oh,
Yeah, the
yeah.
price of shipping pigeons, we left out of the catalog altogether. Anyways, Anthony's waiting for an answer. Should
Hold
we
on.
go to him? Yeah.
Not yet. One more thing about the catalog, we did have a misprint in there. It was the ad for
Iowa
the
pigeon.
Iowa Pigeon Show.
Yeah.
That as we're sending out the new catalogs, there is a corrected copy in the catalog.
Poor Anthony.
Okay, so we're, can you move it up some, Veronica? So, hi, Anthony. Anthony's question. My pigeons are acting a little strange and I'm not too sure what's up with them. I've had my male pigeon for about 5 years now. I found him abandoned and only a few days old on a construction site after the windows went in. So for the last 5 years, I've only had him, but I always felt like he should have a companion. So about 3 months ago, I bought a female pigeon from a local breeder. She is about a year old. At first, he was pretty territorial and was a little mean to her. 2 weeks ago, she laid her first egg, but before she did, she seemed a little depressed and her poop was really watery. But since then, they seem to be getting along really well, but she's kind of lost interest in me. She used to come sit on the couch with me and kind of like preen my hair. She doesn't do that anymore and doesn't fly around very often. I have a 6x12 aviary in my house. The birds don't go outside. Yesterday, my male, who has always been super territorial of my washroom, where they seem to be building a little nest, he didn't try chasing me out of the washroom for the first time ever, and I found a little patch of wet birdseed that I don't know if he puked, regurgitated, pooped, or how it got there, but I've never seen that before. I haven't changed anything in their diet. I did bring a bunch of little sticks in and scatter them around for him to collect. I'm hoping that they're just really getting along now and these are just things they're doing because she's about to lay another egg. But I'm not sure and was hoping you could offer some advice because I'm worried about my birds. Thank you for any help you may offer. Kind regards, Tony.
Would you like to answer that question?
No, go ahead. I need a break.
You go ahead and take a break. Tony, I hate to tell you this, but you've been divorced. You've had that bird for a number of years, I guess 5 years, and that bird was actually mated to you. It's not unusual. When somebody spends a lot of time with one bird and the bird does not see anything else of its species, it mates to that person. When you brought the female in, I think it was a female, when you brought that bird in, at first your bird hadn't seen or hasn't probably never been near another adult. So it kind of was territorial, protecting its environment. But then, like a lightning bolt, the male fell in love with the female. It wasn't love at first sight, but it definitely love. And I think what's happened is that they, it's not promiscuous, but you probably should have some sort of a marriage ceremony for that pair of birds and pronounce them husband and wife, because they've been fooling around and they've laid 2 eggs. They're going to lay 2 eggs, and you're going to be a grandparent. So you really want to kind of do it. I know I'm being There's just not a thing wrong with those birds, nothing, except that the old guy finally has a mate. He's happy, and be aware that those first two eggs may not be fertile, because it's the first time that hen probably ever laid or has been mated. So it wouldn't be unusual if they push them out of the nest because they don't know what they're doing, or the eggs aren't fertile. Usually the second round, they do become fertile. I hope I've answered your question, and I wasn't making fun of you. I was just trying to have fun. So good luck, Tony. Contact us anytime.
That was a nice, long, drawn-out answer. Par for the course, right?
What do I say?
Huh?
Well, I'd rather be thorough.
I'm just messing with you.
No, you're not.
I am. So Manny's with us today. Hi, Manny. Hi, Jerry.
Oh, Manny's the one that, wasn't he the one that was always on
From Alaska.
yeah, he gives you a hard time? Is that the one? No.
He gives you a hard time.
Well,
I need that. That's
that's
me.
from Santa Claus.
Manny says, hi, Jerry and Gina. Had a question regarding young birds with a hardened crop. Notice the birds otherwise seems healthy, just has the hardened crop of grain. Happy Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day.
Manny, does the bird appear to be fine? Does the hardness and the crop doesn't last overnight? I have heard of that, but off the top of my head, I can't come up with an answer, Manny. But if you'll send me as much information as you can send it to Foys or send it to me. Is that something?
Read that. That just
Okay.
that made me think of that question. What we got from the doctor today. I don't know if that's the same thing. What do you think?
We just got we have a contact with a veterinarian, and as many of you know, if you send in droppings, the veterinarian will look at them under a microscope, and he is a pigeon man, so he knows what he's looking for. And in this particular bird, he did a necropsy, but he also mentions about the problems with the post office. Stuff is taking so long to get there. But one of the things he thinks was wrong with the bird that he just checked, the droppings, it mentions the birds are light and or have thickened or an inflamed crop wall. That's it. He does not specifically mention what the answer is, does he?
Yeast.
Well, yeah, yeast infection. So we do, yeast is fungus and something like improver mixed with, what's the other one? Improver?
Antifungal.
Antifungal. There's two products mixed together, should straighten that out. But if you have any questions, I think, Manny, you know my home phone number. If you want to give me a buzz, 724-359-5355. If I'm not home, you leave a message, I'll call you back. But you don't really even have to leave a message.
Right.
It just shows up as they called and what time they called. There you go.
Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you. There you go.
All right, this is Foys on Facebook, if you've just tuned in. What we wanted to talk about while we're waiting for questions, talk about grit and feed, mainly feed. I don't know whether we'll get to the grit or not. Are we showing pictures of the feed on the screen? And the first one is this one, Gina?
Yeah, we'll start with that one. That'll work.
Breeding and molting.
By Versalaga.
And Versalaga is a company from Belgium, a long time manufacturer of pigeon feeds, and probably the most popular pigeon feed in the world. And they just last year opened up an outlet in the United States, and we're proud to be one of their key distributors. We sell their product and we sell their feed. We're going to talk a little bit about breeding and molting. because breeding and molting is the season we're in right now. Breeding first, followed by the molting season. And one of the things I was kind of boning up a little bit on this before the show started is the composition and the similarities in what all feed companies, I think most feed companies do. But what I want to do, Gina, is I'm going to give you this. Hold on. Yeah, let me give you that.
Okay.
Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the contents or the grains in Versalaga's breeding and molting feed. And then Gina is going to show you the difference by listing the grains in Moyer's feed. Yeah, they're both great feeds, but Belgium is the center, is the hub of pigeon breeding all over the world. Pigeon racing, more particularly, and they've had certainly over a century of experience in combining feeds to serve a specific need of a pigeon. So here's what's in Versalaga's breeding and molting: red maize, crib maize, toasted soybean, maple peas, dun peas, yellow peas, large green peas, tares, white pigeon wheat, yellow dairy, which is corn, red dairy, which is corn, safflower, pigeon barley, broken, did I miss something?
Go ahead.
Okay, broken rice, small striped sunflower seeds, hemp seed, yellow millet, brown linseed, and black coal seeds.
So the dari is millet.
Millet, I'm sorry, red millet, okay. Now, all of those are in that particular breeding and molting mix. Now, you're going to tell them what's in that one.
Thank you. Pure grain breeder conditioner without corn is Canadian peas, red Milo, white
Safflower.
White safflower, maple peas, oat groats, Austrian peas, whole wheat, safflower, white millet, red millet, canary seed, rice, and mineral oil.
So you can see there must be at least 20 different grains in this particular feed. So it's made specifically for breeding, not that the other one isn't, but this one is the most complete I've ever seen. And one of the things I noticed about the Versalaga feed is the fact that, number one, for some reason in the United States, people want high protein. They're looking for anywhere from 15 to 18% protein. In Europe, and specifically in China and in Europe and Belgium, their protein level is 12%. That's 12.5% is the highest I could find. Where do they list the protein percentage?
This one is 16%.
Yeah. So in America, we use a lot more protein. In Europe, the real professionals do not do it. So there is a difference. Okay, that's that one. That's the mix. It's used during breeding and molting season. And if I remember right, they also put a little bit of oil on it, but it gives it that sparkling look.
And that one has corn, and this one doesn't.
Okay.
It has. Yeah.
And I personally, I use a corn mix year round, and I'm breeding now, and I use corn mix all the time. All right, next one is standard with maize. And what is maize?
Corn.
Okay. I'll tell you what, when you call Foys, our staff is trained. They know, they have the answers, don't they?
Most of the time.
I don't get as many calls as I used to get because the front line is Gina and Kim and Sherry. And Dan is coming along. He's been with us a short time.
Sometimes we second guess ourselves, so we'll be like, maybe call Jerry just to make sure.
All right, here's a feed. This is a standard with corn, and it's thought of as more of a showbird feed than a racing feed. Would you not agree? Okay. One of the other things that I like about Versalaga feed, it's a 44-pound bag. As we get older, the lighter it is, the easier it is to carry. I can almost put one bag on each shoulder carrying that. My wife screams at me sometimes. As I mentioned earlier, we have a long concrete driveway, and across the street is where I used to keep my feed. And I'd put a bag on my shoulder, 50-pound bag, and walk across the street, up the driveway, into the loft. You shouldn't be doing that. Anyway, all right. The standard mix is certainly nowhere near as long a list of ingredients, but small crib maize. This is their standard mix, usually thought of as a showbird mix. Dung peas, green peas, white pigeon wheat, white dairy, which is
Millet.
millet.
Millet?
Yeah, Milo,
No.
safflower. They love safflower peas. It's almost a treat feed. Peeled barley, that means the barley has the husk taken off. Paddy rice, peeled oats, black sunflower seeds, hemp seeds, buckwheat, yellow millet, white millet. So here again, and it does have quite an array or list of different feeds or different grains. Crude protein, 12%. Here again, in Europe, they don't believe in a high protein. It's a standard basic maintenance mixture for showbirds, and it's also available without corn, with or without.
A lot of times people call us and they'll be like, what's your best feed? Well, anytime anybody asks us what's our best feed, medicine, vitamins, whatever, that's really a personal preference. Just like as we buy shampoo and soap and whatever, it's not going to be the best for what's best for us. It depends.
Why do they have Coke? Why do they have Pepsi?
Right, because Coke is terrible and Pepsi's the best.
Well, no. And
That's a personal
drink
preference.
Coke with my Jack Daniels.
But you're drinking Pepsi right now.
Yeah, Coke wasn't available.
So you can't ask us the best because for feed depends where you live. Are you breeding right now? Are you not breeding? What are you doing? So it's best to either look at the catalog or look online to see what's in each feed to see what you like and what you don't like. Right?
Very well put.
Thank
Gina Gagne.
Gagne.
Gagne, G-A-G-N-E. Looks like Cagney, but
Yeah.
All right. So we've talked about the standard mix with corn, and we've talked a little bit about the standard mix with no corn. Both at 12% protein. Fat is crude fat is important. They list all of the different crude fat, crude fiber, and crude ash.
We're going to stop for a question real
Yeah.
quick. Amber, hi Amber. Amber asked, what would be the latest to breed this in the year?
Good question. Good question. How would you answer that, Gina?
Where does she live?
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Depends where she lives and what else.
Well,
What would you say?
the
Jerry?
answer, right? I was saying, the answer cannot be answered definitively. The rule of thumb, though, the best way to think of it is not how long in the year, because as Gina was implying, the season in Florida is certainly different than
Florida.
Pardon?
She's in Florida.
Okay. In Florida, it's different than it is in Alaska. I shipped pigeons to Alaska last week. Three sets of eggs hatching out are usually a limit that you should think of. In your weather, you could probably breed year round because of the temperatures and weather and so forth. But the mating process, laying the eggs, raising the young, all of that are stressful. And if you go past 3 sets of eggs in a year, 3 hatchlings, you're probably putting more stress on a pair of birds than you should. So rather than thinking of how long should I breed in a breeding season, the answer is not how long, it's how many rounds. 3 rounds is something that's recommended by most pigeon experts.
Thank you.
Huh? Well, thank you for the question. While I was answering the question, my mind was going on to something else that I wanted to mention and I forgot. Okay. We're going to talk about feed. Do we still sell those containers? We don't sell them, the ones I use all the time with the screw lid and the white.
We do have a couple left, but we don't sell them. I think they're on the clearance on the website.
Okay. I use a particular container, which I like, has a, it's made of heavy plastic, has a screw-on lid. The reason I like it is it's vermin-proof. The important thing before we talk about the feed, it's the care of the feed. You should do your very best to put it in a container of plastic or metal, or the old cardboard barrels, and they should seal. You've got to keep them vermin-proof, mouse or rat-proof, or wild birds and things like that. So the container of feed is just as important. I use a 55-gallon barrel, a plastic barrel, with a lid on it, a lid that seals. What if you don't seal it, what happens, the mice can get in. And because it's slippery plastic, in many cases, they can't get out. So what are they going to be doing while they're in that barrel that they can't get out? No, if you don't see them or notice them, number one, they're going to die, and then they're going to rot, or they're going to pee on the feed or poop on the feed. So keep your feed clean. As we all know, one of the ways that paratyphoid is carried from bird to bird is or through the feed. So a clean, dry container with a lid. Okay, let's talk about
The container he was talking about in the beginning was called a Biddle Vault, and we do carry them. We have a couple left. Okay, go ahead.
You know what? I think I might take one of them.
Okay.
I got 1, 2.
Just tell me.
Okay.
Just let me know.
One of the advantages of being the owner of Foys is worst thing happened. I never ever thought this would happen. Talking about Foys.
Mm-hmm.
I needed a box shipped to a friend of mine who was going to ship me some birds. And all I ever do is I leave a note for Gina. Tell Gina I took a 8-bird shipping box, Gina. Yesterday, I walk into the store and I have a box where they put my messages. There's a bill, an invoice for me to pay for the box. Would you not agree, as the owner of a company, I should be allowed to take a box and ship it? And the only reason I tell her is so she can take it out of inventory. Well, I had to bring in my credit card today and pay for the damn box.
It won't be the last invoice you get.
Huh?
It won't be the last invoice you get.
Something's happened that I don't know about? You had a meeting with Kim, didn't you?
I know.
No, Kim had a meeting with you. Mm-mm. Your face is red. All right. Black Label Champion is another mixture that we want to talk about. And it's one that people, we've developed a real following of the local racing people have been coming in. And this is one that they've looked at and seem to want for their race team. It's a feed that's enriched with something called a racing pellet. And it's not pellets as we know, they're little round pellets. And it's made with black corn. Now, black maize, they call it maize over there, is rich in antioxidants. It protects the muscle, the cell for the muscle during a flight. So here again, they're so far ahead of us. It improves the endurance, how long, not only how far they fly, but how fast, and endurance is just so important. So you can buy the little pellets from us separately, but it's in Black Label. I'll read this. It's a complete racing pigeon feed enriched with a special immunity concept. So they're looking at the immune system too. So it's got those concept racing pellets in it, which give the birds energy during flight. And it's really ideal for if you're a long distance flyer, especially with the old birds that are going out 400, 500, and 600 miles. And that, as I said, it has the black corn in it, which I've seen before. It's crazy. You look at corn and you think it's going to be yellow or maybe white, but it's black. All right. The composition, I'm going to do this quick and you don't have to do another one. But anyways, black maize, Bordeaux maize, red maize, that's all three different corns. Here's another one, crib corn. Small crib maize, there's another one. It's got the toasted soybean, maple peas, small green peas, pears. I can't even pronounce this one. Capshangasio, oh, yeah, that's in there too. White pigeon wheat, white dairy, which is
Millet.
red dairy, which is
Millet.
and then it also has safflower, rice, broken rice, peeled oats, hemp seed, buckwheat, canary seed, yellow millet, brown linseed, rapeseed, black coal seed, thistle seed, and racing pellets. They've covered the whole spectrum. If they need something, it's in the Black Label Champion. What we found out, what we're starting to see now, is people are calling in and buying it by the pallet. Right? You shipped out. We ship corn all over the
Well,
place.
people came from, drove up from Baltimore to get it.
Yep, and that was Baltimore's about a 5-hour drive just to get that corn, which they couldn't find anywhere else.
That's a real popular one from Barcelaga.
Now this
Black
is the.
Label.
I'm sorry. This is one that. Go ahead.
No, I was done. Go.
I'll be quiet while I interrupt you. You be quiet. While
I'm done.
Oh.
Go ahead. Finish.
You know why? You'll notice this bottle is not full.
Because you drank it before you came?
Dan knows when I wink at him, he knows what he's doing. Anyway, this has a 15% protein. It's the highest protein feed, the Black Label Champion. And they even tell you how much to use per bird. That's one of the things you don't see in a lot of places. All right. We have a question from Brian.
Hi, Brian. Brian says, I have a young bird that has a bark to it or cough whenever it is in the show pen, and also have heard it in the holding pen. Can you tell me what this is and what do I treat it? I was thinking it could be respiratory.
I don't think it is respiratory, Brian. First of all, look in its nostrils and then open its mouth and look in its mouth. Sometimes in the throat, they get a small feather caught there and they're trying to hack it out just like a human would. So first make sure that croaking or coughing sound isn't caused by something in their nostrils or something in their throat. We have a health book, I don't have it in front of me, which does talk about that, by the way. So if you call me at home after the show, if I don't answer, because I normally don't take calls after 5 o'clock, but I do sometimes. But if I don't get you today, I'll get you tomorrow. I'll return your call and I'll have an answer for you. Do you have a thought?
No.
Okay. You
I
look
was,
sort of
I was trying to
lost.
read that question. We have another question from Yang Lu. Why does my hen only feed on young bird of my pigeons? Always happens. What can help this problem? It's been more than once already. Do you understand that?
I think what he's asking or suggesting that only the female is feeding the young, and I'm assuming what he means is the male is not. And you say it's happened on more than one case. Well, I guess the question, I'm assuming it would be Jan Lu Nay. I'm assuming if it's happened, the question I have is, does it happen to the same pair all the time, or is it from another pair? It's like in humans, you have good mothers and bad father, not always, but sometimes you have the father take care of the child and the mother doesn't seem to have the interest. So with pigeons, it could be the same way. The male just is a lousy father. It can happen. And especially if it's the same pair all the time. If it is, break the pair up. I don't think the bird's sick. You could try breaking the pair up and remating them to two different parents, and I'll bet you that would change. I'm always wondering, I'm here trying to educate the populace, And the people who should really be listening are people who I'm trying to train. These two are smiling at each other, nodding and nodding. Well, I don't know what the heck's going on. They should be listening.
We're looking at the comments on Facebook, and like I didn't understand it, and she didn't understand it either. So we're both like,
Did I
I don't
answer?
know.
Is that
it
the
was
one?
something else.
Oh, okay.
No, it was something
Okay.
else. Randy said, "You sure them gummies don't have THC in them?"
What's THC?
Sick weed.
Huh?
What gets you
Marijuana?
high? Yeah.
Well, I don't know, but
No,
when
they
I was
don't,
at the
Randy.
health food store, and I know the couple real well, and she said, "Do you want this special blend?" I don't know what, but she went in the back and got it.
It does have THC in
Huh?
it
You don't
because
think it's a special blend?
he is my no. We ain't even gonna go there.
I must say I have partake of marijuana in the past. But I did it once with a cigarette, and it didn't seem make any sense to me. It did nothing to me. But that second time, it was in the cookies. Well, where were we?
A picnic at your house.
Huh?
A picnic at your
Yeah,
house.
no. Where were we here? We
Huh?
talked about Champion Plus.
Oh, on here.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you want to talk about all these bottles? Real quick.
If they're, I already
Did you
talked
talk
about it
about
all before the show.
Oh, okay.
If
Never
you're
mind.
just joining us, I am trying to get rid of a bunch of stuff. I have been a collector of bottles for years, and I've got, I'll bet you,
Ooh.
150
Limit.
old bottles going back to before the when we had alcohol. What was that? What was that called? When you couldn't sell alcohol. But anyway, I've got old bottles going back from the early or late 1800s. So if you're interested in buying my bottle collection, call me at home. I
This is
also
1876.
have a collection of old Tims. This is one. This is yeast. This is talcum powder from Johnson. I have a lot of other ones, tobacco and oil and things like that. So if you're interested in those, you can call me. And I also have a whole collection of old license plates. Some go back to the 1920s, and they're about this big, real solid. This one is 1945. Looks like it's brand new. So I got started with the license plates. My brother gave me one, and it was from 1941. And if you can figure that out, 1941 is the year I was born, which puts me at 67 right now. Go ahead.
I didn't say nothing.
We did reading and molting. We did
Champion
standard.
Plus.
We did Neo Grit, and we haven't done. Go
No,
ahead.
you're out of order. Right there.
That's what my teacher used to say. You're out of order.
Imagine that.
Oh, I can never forget that time. I told a story before. My teacher was telling a little bit about his family at home, and I made some snide comment that you actually fathered children. He came running up that aisle. I thought for sure he was going to slug me, but he threw me out. I've been a big mouth since high school. Well, actually, before that. All right, what are we talking about? Didn't we talk about Champion?
We did not. Did we? No. Anybody? No, we didn't.
No, we didn't. All right. Well, why don't you talk about maybe the ingredients? You're a better reader than me.
I got
You
my
have
own
one,
copy
okay. This is called Champion Plus IC.
from Versalaga. And all these feeds from Versalaga that we're talking about, they either come in a 44-pound bag or a 10-pound bag. So the composition for the Champion Plus is red corn, premium cribs corn, small cribs corn, soybeans, maple peas, green peas, terrace, catjang ajo, white pigeon wheat, white dairy, red dairy, safflower, barley, patty rice, peeled oats, hemp, buckwheat, brown linseed, rapeseed, coal seed, and racing pellets. That was rude.
Crude and rude.
Yes.
That's me. Are you done?
I'm done.
Oh, thank you. One of the
What
things
is
that
that?
I wanted to mention, the other one I mentioned, the black label, this feed isn't necessarily a year-round feed. In reading it, it tells you that, let me word it out. It says this racing mixture can be used for both young and old pigeons. And it's used at the end of the week towards just maybe a day before you're going to be basketing your birds, and it's an additional feeding. So what they're saying is you don't give this every day. You're going to give it during race season, and you start giving it, if your race is on a Saturday, you would give it Thursday and Friday. It's a complete sport. You didn't have to point at it. You could have just read it yourself.
I just wanted to.
It's a complete sports mixture. Good for you. Good for you. Oh, and their protein is 14 and a half. A lot of stuff. And it does have the IC, which is,
Yes, the immunity concept.
you know, and so within their feed, they've also have what's called plus IC, which strengthens the immune system. Because your birds are going to be mixed up with a whole bunch of other birds. Everything you do to strengthen the immunity is going to reduce the possibility of your bird catching a disease. I did pretty good on that one.
Yes, you did.
I thought that was one of the best readings of the ingredients of a feed I've ever heard. Never heard anyone better.
Such a BSer.
I can't deny it. I just can't deny it.
I know.
Wayne has a question.
Hi, Wayne. Hi, Gina, Jerry. I have almond-colored homers. Not sure if they're show or race birds. Have trained them to 140. Never lost one. What do you think?
I think they're definitely, my opinion, race birds. A show homer or show racer is a bigger, bulkier bird. The feathering on a show racer is much tighter than on a racing homer. So I think what you've got, I'm sorry, I read the other next question. And we thank you so much for adding. I talked to Gina, we'll probably make the show 2 hours.
No, we won't.
Anyway, well, where was I? Oh, the racing homer. I'm pretty sure you've got a racing homer, and not necessarily a show racer. Danny from Soldiers Loft, Rollers, Galarza.
Galarza.
You must be a roller.
Sorry to inform you, Jerry, but if you were born in 1941, you are not 67, unless my math is wrong. I was wondering if anyone would pick up on it.
What's wrong with it? Isn't that correct?
No.
41 and 67. It takes me 67 years. Huh.
You're not 67.
You don't think Danny's math is wrong? You think it was me?
I don't think it's.
Wait a minute. What's that? Are you going to calculate it
It's
for me?
definitely you.
47, 1941, 40. No, I was born in 41. Where's my gummy bears? I'm getting excited again. Thanks, Danny. Well, we got. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I was going to mention this again, but go ahead.
We had some customers in. I think it was yesterday, and they asked me how old I was, and I was like 40. I'm like, wait, no, I'm not 40. I'm about to be 50. Kim's like, Gina, stop lying. I was like, no, I meant I'll be 50 this year.
I got a call talking about age. I think it was last week. Gentleman called and wanted to buy 8 white young racing pigeons, and he told me that I think it was a raccoon got into his loft and killed every bird but one. And he is in the white dove release business for funerals and weddings and so forth. And we got to talking. He says, you know, Jerry, he says, I asked my wife if I should get back into the white doves or just forget about it. I said, well, why would she ask you that? He said, I'm 86. God bless him. He's 86 years old, starting all over again with pigeons. He wants to keep his business going. And
Wow.
it ties into something. We thank you so much. Our business is booming, really great. And during this pandemic, we've been so blessed. The business is so good. And what brought it to mind was this older gentleman. People have more time now. They're at home. I think of what it is. They're at home. Maybe the loft needed to be repaired. Maybe they needed new nest bowls, nest boxes, whatever it is. Business is really, really good, and we thank you for that. I'm reading these. We were formed in 1883. So if we started our business in 1883, that would make us, I'll do this one in my head, 137 years ago, this company started. 137 years ago. And we're just the third family to own the company.
That's amazing.
And Danny's picking on me. Go ahead.
Age is nothing but a number. More gummies. Wayne said, Jerry, every week you're a different age. Yes.
Well, at least if he knows that, then he watches the show on a semi-regular basis. Oh, did you tell him, or did you know somebody sent Gina a box of chocolates?
Thank you. They were delicious. And I shared them.
I would sneak into the office and, but if somebody sends in another box of chocolates for Gina, or me, I love chocolate. We love the chewy kind, not the soft ones with the cherries and sweet stuff.
What do you mean chewy? Oh, like caramel
hard,
and
a little harder, like the the caramel
peanuts
and things like
peanut
that.
butter. Yes.
Yeah.
You can read that one.
Read that one.
Gina, what's your favorite this week? Not diamonds yet? LOL. Not yet. I think we need to talk about some medication.
Oh yeah, but understand,
Yes,
it's 3:56. Supposedly we have 4 more minutes, but last week we went 15 minutes over.
Talk a lot.
Don't shut it off automatically. Another thing is, can I mention this? We've talked about it, we haven't finalized it, but we're thinking about offering advertising time on our future shows, and we haven't come up with a plan yet, but it would be nice to see if you have interest in advertising, if you have pigeons or chickens, fancy birds, racing homers, or if you make something yourself and it's good for pigeons, you might want to send that in. But if it's really good, I'll steal the idea, so be careful. But if you want to advertise anything related to pigeons or chickens, let us know if you have interest, because we're trying to decide whether we should do it or not.
It would be like a little commercial during our Facebook Live show.
Could they send a commercial in? They pre-recorded it or something, or no? Well, yeah, we want to know if you are interested in advertising.
We could do that, the commercial.
We don't know whether we should or shouldn't.
Okay. Randy asked if there's going to be gummies in the new catalog.
Page 137, right column down at the bottom. They're on sale. See, what I do is I buy a bottle of 179 and I sell them to my neighbors, tell them they're marijuana. They can buy them in 10s. And
anyways,
they look just like this, and but I give them 1 or 2 and they take them and they start acting high. There's no marijuana in them. Like, well,
don't pay him no money.
Ever since I had to start paying for my product that I take them from the store, I'm trying to come up with ways of making more money.
Since we were talking about feed, I did want to mention show season is right around the corner, hopefully, if they have shows this year. We do not take feed to the shows. All the shows have couple feed companies that usually go, But if there's one that you want to pre-order and us to take, we can always do that.
And we ship feed from the store, so
Every
if you
day.
want to buy, it goes out every day. If you want to buy one bag, we do that. If you want to buy 10 bags or 20 bags, if you get up to 20 bags, it's shipped by truck freight, isn't it? Regular UPS or whatever. But maybe get together with a friend or two. You must, your club members, or you must know other people, and buy a pallet. And the shipping is less per bag.
Or drive and pick it up.
Pardon?
Or come
Oh,
pick it
yeah,
up.
come in. And if you want to come in and you want me,
Peruse the
if you want me to
store.
take a picture with you or autograph something with you, well, I'll put my arm around you, just like you're a good friend, and we'll take a picture. No? We can't do that?
Not right now with the virus. I don't
We're-
even let you
we're
hug me
open.
or touch me. I'd be
We're
like,
open. Not everybody, is sort of
I
eccentric
know.
like you.
Well, anyways.
David has a question.
Oh, hi, David. I separated my hens and cocks, but the hen's still laying eggs. Is that normal? Yes.
Okay.
See?
There's no apostrophe in the word hens.
With eggs.
H-E-N apostrophe S or H-E-N-S. The reason I ask that is, does that mean he has one bird that's doing it or multiple hens doing it? If I had to guess, it's one. If they're separated and she's still laying, believe it or not, if they can see each other, that will happen. Or if she can hear his cooing, just like we recognize voices, if she hears his cooing, she can lay eggs. Of course, they're not going to be fertile, but that's the only thing I can think of, and that's probably what it is. So it's not terribly unusual.
Okay. Does Jerry free you for lunch, Gina? Maybe twice a month I get to take a lunch break.
I can be bribed.
Can you?
Remember we were talking about trying to find ways to raise money? Yeah, well,
There
somebody
you go.
wants to go to lunch at a particular place, and make a pair of birds for our auctions, as
He
you
said
know.
multiple hens.
We auction birds. We auctioned 2 pair. We talked about it earlier in the show. We had a pair of homers, and what was the other pair that went this week?
Tipplers?
Tippers, pair of tippers. I'm looking for birds for auctions. I'm running out of birds. I've mentioned this before. If you're interested in sending a pair of birds to me, good quality birds with bands, I'd appreciate it very much. And when we sell them, and it's rarely are they under $100. Both of these went for over 100. Your name will be listed in the NPA Quarterly forever as a contributor to the NPA Legacy Fund Trust. In fact, one gentleman who, Bill, he donated the Utility King just recently, and we shipped them out yesterday.
They came and picked them up.
Oh, they came and picked them up. But he gives us a pair of birds, like almost every show. His next pair of birds, and I said, hey, Bill, the next time we sell one pair of your birds, you're going to be over $1,000 in contributions. So he went, the first level is what's called gold. He passed that. Then it was ruby at 500. Now he's at 1,000. And I'll bet you anything, he'll up $5,000. All the money we receive, Foys makes not a penny. In fact, Foys loses money on it. But the money is invested, and if there's a pigeon person that has a need, the money can be made available to help those. We never spend the money, only the earned interest from those contributions. So if you need information about shipping birds, you call me, and the birds are shipped to Foys.
So you're going to sell me out for a pair of pigeons?
Lunch. Lunch. What's lunch? Don't they do that on dating services and things like that? Don't they have to pay? Don't they have to pay on that dating service?
Okay. Anyways,
Well, you brought it up, not me.
You said whatever it takes.
Right. Well, if you want to go to lunch, she's a great conversationalist.
Anyway,
And how many women can you take out to lunch that can talk pigeon? She can talk. You got questions on pigeon health, things like that. I should stop now.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Oh, but I didn't mention I'll be there too. I'm a chaperone. Wasn't that obvious?
No, but thank you.
All right.
So we're gonna talk a little bit. If you have any questions on feed, give Jerry a call.
Okay.
No, you can call any of us really. Give us a call and ask whatever you want to know. Also on grits and single grains, which single grains, some we talked about the last show.
Mhm.
We never made it through because we all know why. But
But in talking about grains, small grains, just an afterthought. We've mentioned this before. Sometimes if your birds are not well, um, take them off of the hardy feeds like that have a lot of peas and corn, and put them on something like a dove mix. We sell a dove mix, or we sell candy, pigeon candy. It's all
Short beak.
small seed. Pardon?
short beak.
Short beak, yeah, short beak also. And it's nutritious, but when they're sick, the kernels of corn and the peas are very hard to digest. An example would be if I eat corn on the cob, the next day I know I ate corn on the cob. What did I say?
Anyways,
Veronica's over there. Now her face is red. She's shaking her head. It's true.
I had something
Isn't
else.
that true?
It's true,
Right,
yeah,
okay.
but
So
we don't
anyways,
need
if
to
you've got
talk
sick
about
birds,
it.
you want to feed them a
Okay.
light fare.
Oh, I know what I was gonna say. If there's any single grains or other feed that you may want that we don't carry, it's not on our site or in our catalog. If it's from Pure Grain Moyer, I can always get it for you. I have a couple people that I buy, about 3 or 4 local people that I buy specific things for them. Every time I order feed, I order this for them. So if there's anything you need, whether it's multiple times, one time, I can still get it. Just give me a call, and we can work something out. What's up?
I'm wanting to talk.
Go ahead.
One thing we never mentioned is
No.
cage bird feed.
Oh yeah,
Parrots and canaries and things like that.
parakeets.
Could we tell them, but we have a
That's-
customer.
We have a couple.
Parrots.
That's some of the special feed I order for them is for parrots, parakeets.
Mhm.
So if you need any of that, if you need anything for poultry, just let me know and
But
we
with
can get it.
the cage bird feed, the parrots and so forth,
Mhm.
you're buying it in a 20-pound, 30-pound bag.
We have, I think 5, 10, 20, and 40 pounds.
So if you're buying it in
Depending
30
what
or
it
40
is.
pounds, you'll find it's probably cheaper to buy it that way, from us, because if you price the 16-ounce bags in the store, we also sell wild bird seed. If you price it in the store, you're going to find it's cheaper to buy that big bag and pick it up or have it shipped right to you.
Yeah, so just give me a call. Real quick, we're gonna
Yeah, we
go.
don't have to go quick.
Okay, well, real slow and drawn out. We are gonna we're gonna talk about some medication substitutions. So since we're out of stock on a lot of products, because everything going on right now, we're not gonna cover everything because we don't have a lot of time. It's Friday, and I want to start my long weekend.
Okay.
And
You're not working tomorrow.
I'm not working till
Talk to Kim.
Tuesday.
She's just being too down lean.
So I need a
But this
break.
is important. You may want to get a pencil just to write, because if you want something, we probably don't have it. You'll know, we have substitutes.
And some of the stuff that I'm going to mention as a substitute, we're running low on it, so we may run out of that. So just ask if we tell you we're out of stock right now. Ask if there's a sub. And if they're not sure, ask them to come get me. So the first one I'm going to talk about is Thailand Powder. Was you going to say something?
No, Thailand, we're
Oh.
out of Thailand. The first one that we're out of, the second one is a substitute.
Right. So Thailand Powder. Some of them I'm not going to name all the substitutes because some of them there's a lot. But if there's a product you don't like that I name, you can ask for another one. So Thailand substitute Tylemox, which is Tylenol and amoxicillin together in one container. And then another one is Doxy Tea Powder, which is doxycycline and Thailand Powder together in one container.
Excuse me.
Uh-huh.
How do you pronounce Tylan?
Thailand.
How do you pronounce the Thailand? You call it tea. It's doxy.
Okay, so I always do say doxy Thai, but some people in here say doxy tea. We was talking about that before the show. A lot of us say things completely different. So I normally say doxy Thai, but a lot of people do call and say doxy tea, and a lot of people in here say doxy tea.
Like up in Maine, I buy Maine lobster. And around here, they call it the Maine lobster.
So anyways, the next one, amoxicillin powder, which is a broad spectrum antibiotic. We're out of that. We're out of the tablets.
What does broad spectrum mean?
A wide variety. You trying to stump me, huh? So a substitute for that is the Vetafarm Triple C powder, which is also a broad spectrum antibiotic.
One thing, may I mention something
Sure.
about that? If you see, what brought it to mind was the triple C, which is aureomycin, which is chlorotetracycline. If the end of the drug is INE, take the grit away.
Cycling.
If it ever ends in chlorotetracycline,
Doxycycline.
Terramycin is chlorotetra, no, is another cycline. Anyway, take the grit away.
Avertex. Coccidiosis, right?
Mhm.
I had a brain fart for a minute. So Avertex, brain fart.
I try, Lord. Crude, rude.
Substitute for Avertex is cocciworm tablets and divot tablets, which we may be out of divot now too. I'm not positive. Aviotric tablets, which is for canker. And keep in mind, if it's a tablet, I'm just going to tell you a tablet. We also have powders, but if it's a specific tablet, I'll tell you a tablet substitute. So for Aviotric, we have Trizol, which is from Vetafarm, and we also have Tricolistop capsules, which is from Pigeon Vitality.
And both of those are from overseas.
Mm-hmm.
So we may not be getting them in, but they are temporary replacements.
I do have shipments from both of those companies coming, but we do have them right now, so we're good on that. Ectoendo tablets, if we run out, that's for worms. So we have the Worm Out tablets and the Worm Out Plus tablets from Vetafarm, or we have the Cocciworm tablets from Aviomed. Thank you. Worm powder from Aviomed that specifically goes on your feed. And we have the natural dewormer from Pigeon Vitality that also goes on the feed. So those are substitutes of each other. Spiridox tablets, that's for respiratory. We have a lot of respiratory products, but for the tablets, we have Vetafarm's Respire. We have Vetafarm's Tony's Treasure tablets, which is for multiple use. And we have Vetafarm DoxyVet tablets.
DoxyVet, and the one before that,
Tony's
and
Treasure.
then cycling, doxycycline, take the grit away.
Okay. Vibramune powder, which is an immune
Stimulator or immune booster.
For viruses, circovirus, adenovirus, paramyxovirus. There's quite a bit of substitutes for that. Nutri-Drops is a popular one. Elderberry juice is a popular one, which I personally take. We have Adeno S, we have Adeno Zap, we have Metaprim, we have Immunity Gold, Immunity Plus. So lots and lots of substitutes for that one. That we have a lot of that in stock.
And none of them are treatments. When you
Right.
talk virus, there's no treatments. What these are immune system stimulants. The stronger the immune system, the better chances are you'll fight off a virus before it becomes a problem.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to tell you a quick story. I might have said it before about the elderberry juice, but every show season, I get sick all year long through the show season from September through January. I started from, September to January. I started taking the elderberry juice back in September, I have not once gotten sick. In January, everybody in the office was sick, including Jerry and Veronica. The only one that didn't get sick was me. And I say it's because of the elderberry juice. I swear by it. So anyways, typhoid cure. We're
You
out of.
shouldn't swear.
Well, I don't have a sailor mouth. But
I've heard it. I've heard a couple of
only
words.
when I'm upset or stub my toe or something. Typhoid cure, we're out of that. There's furaltidone as a substitute. Muscle and wing is a substitute. Although muscle and wing goes on the feed, everything else goes on the water. Metaprim is a substitute. There's a couple other ones for that too. We did that. Doxycycline. There's several substitutes for that. The Doxy-Ty powder. Doxy-T, Doxy-Ty would be a substitute. The Quell, which is the liquid that goes in the water. Respire tablets. So that's just some of the substitutes that.
And if you normally stock up on products, or if you're waiting for show season, there's no definitive answer. I've used that word twice during this show. We may not have shows this year. We just don't know. And as you can see, we're struggling keeping the products in. You may, and I generally tell people don't do this because we ship out same day, but we're running out. You may want to order a couple of the products you think of on a regular basis, because if we don't go to a show, so many people wait for that. You may not get it because there might not be a show.
Right. David asks, how can I tell if my birds have a respiratory issue?
What are some symptoms?
Cough.
Yeah.
Watery eyes. Might have a buildup around the
Nose and eyes, yeah.
Yep, that.
One thing that's brand new in the catalog, David, when you get the new catalog, mycoplasmosis is another one, and the way you find that in, it's a picture, but we've actually put pictures in the catalog of different diseases. Can you pull that one up? Now, you probably can't see, David, there's a picture right here. Is it close enough? And there's a string. It looks like a white line running down here. That's mucus. And that's called mycoplasmosis. So there are many, many signs of respiratory. And the problem is sometimes it looks like respiratory and it's not. But the most common are slime in their throat, well, in their mouth, goes from the bottom to the top. They're breathing heavy, they're panting, they have watery eyes, as Gina says. Sometimes they have, where their nostrils is, you squeeze it and stuff will come out. That's respiratory. So there's a lot of different issues. That's why if you do have a respiratory issue, it makes so much more sense if you can possibly take a picture of it. If you can spot it, you send it to us. We had a fellow from Florida, Ben, sent us some stuff, some pictures, really nice pictures, so we could figure out what his problem was. So there's no one way that you can diagnose respiratory because there are so many different symptoms.
Yes. So if you ever have any problems, whether it's respiratory canker, pox, or you don't know what it is, and you want Jerry to look at a picture, you can always call us and send us email us a picture.
Send it to Foys, not to me, because Jerry doesn't know how to pull the picture up. But you send it to Foys, and they'll send it right to me.
Yeah.
Getting a lot of those anymore.
Yeah, we are.
Modern technology.
Yep.
I think we probably should think about leaving.
I think so too. It's Friday.
It's Friday.
It's Friday.
Do you have time for a meeting after the meeting, after this show?
Are we done on the show?
Yeah. Well, I thought we were done.
We got to close out.
Oh, we're still. Oh. I smile.
Don't mind this 67-year-old. Thank you for tuning in with us. We appreciate all the questions and comments.
And excuse our foolishness, mostly coming from Jerry. Well,
Next show is Friday, June 5th. If you have any questions, anything you want us to demonstrate on the show, any product you want us to talk about, contact myself or Jerry. We'll be more than happy to talk about it, show it to you. And until then, have a great long weekend.
And if you have any birds you'd like to ship to me, ship them to Foys for our charity auctions. They have to be a hen and a cock. They have to be banded. And there was
Right.
something else I was going to mention, but I already forgot. So I
If
guess
you're interested in the bottles or the tins, give Jerry a call.
or license plates.
Yes.
I have those. And if you have a question, call me at home. My phone rings off the hook, and my wife says, "Don't you ever get tired of it?" I do and I don't. I guess the calls I'm not happy with are 7, 8. I got one the other night at 9:30 at night. I didn't answer it, but I knew who it was. But 9 to 5 is the time I would really prefer, and that's Eastern time. Because we get calls from California, and sometimes there's a 3-hour difference, and they forget. Because I know I've called people in California at 8 o'clock in the morning, and it's 5 o'clock in the morning there.
Right.
So, thanks for listening. Hope you'd enjoy it. Hope you enjoyed it. We had fun. Veronica says goodbye too.